Vice Mayor, members of the council, staff, members of the public, thank you so much for being here. Always a pleasure to see you. We are going to convene the LPA, the local planning agency, which is also us. I know you realize how talented we are and the different hats that we wear. And so we're going to convene that meeting for one agenda item. I'll call this meeting to order. Would you call the roll, please, Russell?
Councilmember McKay,
Here.
Councilmember Jablonski,
Here.
Councilmember Brightcrus,
Here.
Vice Mayor Fisickelli,
Here.
Mayor Nelson.
Here, we all stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And no, that's not Keith. He hasn't aged significantly over the last couple of weeks that you've seen him. One of the finest municipal attorneys in Broward County. We're very fortunate to have him, Mr. Jim Brady, and just an outstanding guy. Maybe just a little bit, Keith, just a little bit better. Not very much, though. But it's a pleasure to have you, Mr. Brady, and thank you for being here. And I think our objective tonight is to make sure that you don't have anything to say or any comments. So we'll keep our fingers crossed.
When that happens, if I happen to have a comment, I'll be Keith Polython.
Okay. That's a deal, Mr. Brady. That's a deal. Russell, we read the resolution for the record, please.
A resolution of the local planning agency of the town of Southwest Ranches, Florida, for the LPA recommending the adoption of amendments to the objectives and policies within several elements of the adopted town of Southwest Ranches comprehensive plan pertaining to Broward County land use plan, consistency requirements, intergovernmental coordination, and local street connections, providing for an effective date.
Thank you, Russell. Any comments, Andy?
Actually, not from administration. I know Jeff
I
Cadence is here
just wanted to
do
make
it.
sure. I always
nothing
want to see
add,
if you
Mayor.
have
Thank
anything to say. Jeff, always a pleasure to see you.
Thank you, Mayor, and the same on my part. This is an ordinance that was brought back from first reading in August 28th. It's basically a do-nothing ordinance with the exception of two policies. The purpose of the ordinance as a whole is to bring our comprehensive plan in compliance with the Broward County Land Use Plan. And there are several non-substantive areas where we had to make some tweaks to certain policies and whatnot. That's been reviewed by the Comp Plan Board, and we discussed it at first reading. The reason that the ordinance was tabled indefinitely and not moved right into second reading is because of two policies that are outlined on page 1 of the memo that talks about this ordinance. Page 39 of your packets, transportation element policy 1.2E and F. And the way that 1.2E read, and by the way, these were inserted as outside of the Broward County Land Use Plan consistency portion of the ordinance. So these are substantive, and 1.2E states that local street connections with Southwest 184th Avenue shall not be permitted from the east. That's how it reads as amended. We have stricken the language that said the town shall further this policy by initiating the vacation and abandonment of the portions of intersecting rights-of-way, easements, and reservations that would accommodate such connections while preserving the east-west continuity of the town's equestrian and recreational trail system. Policy F now reads, access to the Rolling Oaks community shall continue to be exclusively from Griffin Road via Southwest 178th Avenue. It shall be the policy of the town to prohibit street connections that would provide additional access. We have stricken the language that said, the town shall further this policy by initiating the vacation and abandonment of the portions of intersecting rights-of-way easements and reservations that would accommodate such connections. Otherwise, the ordinance is identical to what you saw in first reading.
Mayor, if
Thank
I
you,
may,
Jeff. Yes, sir, Doug.
I'd like to make a motion to approve, but with two changes in what we're talking about. the change TE Policy 1.2E to read, "Local street connection to Southwest 184th Avenue shall not be permitted," and to change to TE Policy 1.2F to read, "Vehicular access to the Rolling Oaks community shall continue to be exclusively from Griffin Road via Southwest 178th Avenue. It shall be the policy of the town to prohibit street connections that would provide additional access."
Okay.
You want me to
Yeah.
read that again, or everybody good?
I think that, do we have it for the record? Russell is pretty quick. Pretty quick at picking this up. We'll reconfirm it to Doug for you to make sure that we got it all. Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve with those additions that Councilmember McKay had added. Any members of the public wish to comment on this item? Seeing no public comment is now closed. Again, we have a motion and a second, and just to approve with those changes. And Russell, did you get those changes?
I believe I did, Mayor.
Let's just confirm it so
Sure.
that Doug can give us a thumbs up,
If
and
I
then
could
we'll
just-
take a vote. And I'm sorry, Steve, I see your finger down there.
Right.
I apologize.
That's okay, thank you. I want to be clear on the first one. The second one, the second one sounds fine. The first one, we're saying that there are no connections from either east or west onto 184th.
Yes.
I believe that there's a pretty strong feeling for the folks on the west that they would like to connect to 184th. So I have a little bit of an issue with that one.
Okay, and I hear what you're saying, Steve, and you certainly have been intimately involved in that process. And Gary, I know this is your area as well. And listen, we're here to talk about it and address it and hopefully get this reconciled.
Okay, I mean, I don't want to do anything to, on the east side, I understand we don't want to do that. But on the west side, for a long time, we felt like that it would just be a straight shot and nothing going through there. But I've since had a number of conversations there, some of the people that live in that section there that would like to be able to connect to 184 from their side and go north or south, rather than going on those local residential roads.
Are you making an amendment to his
I would
motion?
like an amendment, yeah, to allow
I'll
traffic.
second that amendment.
Well, we got a motion and in a second, and if the maker of the motion will withdraw it, and again, I suspect.
I'd rather not.
Okay. Well, right now we have a motion and a second on the floor to approve. You'd like to, get something out there that everybody can agree to, and I'm not cutting you off, Freddie. I know Gary.
I'll jump in 1 second if I may,
Absolutely.
Mayor,
Go
just to
ahead.
remind everybody.
Sure.
Part of the issue and part of the problem was way back when this was going to be a 4-lane road. Comments were made and things were said that if there were any roads from either side that were going to intersect this street, that it would be mandatory by the county to be a 4-lane road. So I think that's problematic additionally.
Okay, I've never heard that comment, and I don't think that's true. I mean, you can look at Dykes Road, you can look at 172nd, we have all kinds of roads that are thoroughfares that have that situation, so I don't think that's true. So I wouldn't want to base my decision on that. I think that by allowing that, it's just one more way to allow traffic off of a local residential road onto a through road and make it safer for the neighborhoods there. That's my motivation for it. I can say that.
And listen, I hear what you say, and I'm trying to figure out maybe a compromise here. And there isn't anything that down the road that we can address it, later on. listen, 184th, I know that that's something that all of us have gotten emails from residents out west. We're talking about, traffic on the traffic plan in 2040, and who knows, what environment's going to exist, 26 years from now. So, and I understand that there is that potential, and there has some discussions. I've gotten a lot of cons and a few pros. And again, later on, there still is an opportunity or an option to address this. So, does it need to be included at this time, Doug, or some other language that allows some flexibility? And I see Andy walking back and forth trying to get it reconciled. Freddie.
Yeah, at the MPO meeting today, I had a chance to attend to Greg Stewart, and they're in the process now of trying to do what Steve had asked them to do, to take that off the plan as a 4-lane and make it just a 2-lane. But really, that's the only activity on that thing at MPO at the present time. But one thing I think we got to keep in consideration, that the first part of that road is going to be part of a project if they ever build it. And it would be kind of difficult to tell those people they couldn't come into that road from the west if they do build that project. So I really don't think, I know what we want to do. We want to cut that east access, and I'm for that 100%. But I would be really reluctant to trying to do anything on the west side.
Mayor,
Go ahead, Doug.
I guess if we're going to attempt to find a happy medium here, that if I were to modify the motion, I guess it would have to say something to the effect that you could have access from the west side of 184th, provided it only stayed a 2-lane, it can't go to a 4-lane road. If the 4-lane road comes into play in any way, shape, or form, that the access would be denied, because we've got to keep it a 2-lane road when and if it were to ever get built.
I definitely agree with that.
You don't have an issue with that,
No, I'm totally on board
Steve?
with that.
Okay, so let's just confirm.
What's Gary's thought on that? I'm curious.
Yeah, absolutely.
It sounds like a happy compromise. Obviously, I want the east side, and I don't want a 4-lane road. I want a 2-lane road either. I mean, that's pretty obvious, fairly well stated in the past. But it sounds like it's a happy medium for right now in the policy decision.
Okay. I'll make that modification if somebody wants to second that.
I'll second it.
Okay. And again, 1.2E, Doug, just to confirm, and I think that you got this, Russell, you want to read that back, just to confirm that everybody's in agreement with those changes and those additions?
I'll take a stab at it. Okay, so this is a motion to approve, subject to changing policy, TE Policy 1.2E, to state local street connections to Southwest 184th shall not be permitted. If a 4-lane road is constructed, then access would be denied.
No, not quite. No. It's going to have to be something to the effect, well, actually, I had to leave it to the lawyer myself. I think, Jeff, let Jeff explain it better.
Am I on here? Okay, how about this? Local street connections with Southwest 184th Avenue shall not be permitted, provided that street connections from the west may be permitted only if Southwest 184th Avenue will remain a 2-lane road.
Okay, I think that's pretty close, but I'm a little concerned about the access would only be from the west, never from the east.
And that's what was included as part, didn't you include that on 1.2E? Should not be permitted east.
But the problem, I thought the east was off limits
Yes,
for vehicular connection.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
So vehicular access from the west may only be permitted if 184th remains a 2-lane road.
okay.
You okay with that?
I think that'll work.
Okay, since we changed it just a little bit, again, we have a motion and a second to approve. I'll turn it back over for public comment.
far as 180, as far as 100, Bob Bush, as far as 184th and 4-lane road goes, the state of Florida has already told you once that all you have to do as far as 4-lane or 2-lane is have an engineering study done to show that a 2-lane will handle the traffic. And then, if you do that, MPO and the county and the state of Florida will all agree to it. So you just have to have that done. That's been put in writing by the state of Florida to the town, and it was done at the last, when you had your comp plan authorized the last time around. Now, as far as going, I don't care whether you eliminate all roads going to the east side into Rolling Oaks, but we haven't discussed in our area, Country Estates, at all about any connections from the west side onto 184th, whether it's 2-lane, 4-lane, or 6-lane. We haven't done that. This is a total new thing brought up. I don't know where you're coming for.
Councilmember Bright Cruz has had a few conversations.
Well, we haven't had a lot of conversations as far as I'm concerned. I haven't heard about this discussion as to whether to have connections from the west. Now, it may be a good idea, and it may not be a good idea. But I think the folks who live here need to discuss it. Now, I don't know who you've been talking to, but it sure hasn't been at the Country Estates Homeowners Association, and I don't know of anybody else. So I think that should be just left out. I don't foresee any great need for connections, but there may be, and we need to discuss that. I don't think this is appropriate just to spring this on it, and what has not been discussed. Thank you.
Jim Lasky, 188th Avenue. If this is an idea on the fly, it's a great idea. The people that are going to use that little road you're talking about are the people that you want to move out of the way anyway. It's not going to be me driving over there to go north or south. So it makes perfect sense, and I can't see a lot of traffic on it. But it'll get those people hauling those trailers and stump grinders up and down our streets. It's the reason to do the whole thing, really. Not so much the guys on the north or south, it's the guys in our neighborhood that we're complaining about every week. So, all right.
Any other public comment? And sorry, Jim, I break Robert's rules all the time. We value public comments. No further public comment. Public comment is now closed. Again, we have a motion and a second. And glad to hear they're having that discussion, Freddie, about 4-lane to 2-lane. I think that is unanimous, and I think that most people, if not all people in the town, especially out west, would agree with that. But this is something that's way down the road. But anticipating, this potential to evolve over a period of time, it's a good thing to have, something in place that can address it moving forward. And it's a confirmation that we have a philosophy and a direction and something that at least we're getting started with. So with that being said, is there any, Steve?
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to follow up, appreciate Bob's comments. My thought is that I don't want to take away an option for the community by restricting it to no access. Certainly, you bring up a good point that this should be something that is an active discussion in the HOA, and I will do that. And if the majority feels like they don't want access there, then I'll come back to this group and say we need to take it away. But my intention here was not to create a huge opening. My intention was to leave the option open at this point. That was the goal.
Agree, and I think we're all on the same page with regards to that. Doug?
Yeah, one just quick question. After this vote, I'd just like to make a statement.
Absolutely. Again, we have a motion and a second to approve the two modifications. And just for the record, make sure we got it right this time. Russell, I know you got it down this time. I know the one, obviously, 1.25, and that's access exclusively for, well, no. I would draw that. Go ahead.
Okay, so you want me to read,
Yeah,
you
just
do want me to read them
The
both,
two-
right?
Yeah, the
Okay.
two modifications.
Okay, so for the first one is the change to TE Policy 1.2E, and I believe what it said, or what Jeff stated, was local street connections with Southwest 184th Avenue shall not be permitted, provided that street connections from the west, only if 184th Avenue remains a two-lane route.
May be permitted only if.
Okay. Good? Doug, good? Okay.
Okay, and then the change to TE Policy 1.2F would be vehicular access to the Rolling Oaks community shall continue to be exclusively from Griffin Road via Southwest 178th Avenue. It shall be the policy of the town to prohibit street connections that would provide additional access.
Correct.
Okay, everybody okay with that? Okay. Thank you, Russell. Again, we have a motion and a second to approve with those two modifications. Would you call the roll, please, Russell?
Councilmember McKay?
Yes.
Councilmember Jablonski?
Yes.
Councilmember Brighters?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fisickelli?
Yes.
Mayor Nelson?
Yes, that concludes our responsibility as LPA, and with that, I'll certainly take a motion to adjourn. We have no more items.
Motion to adjourn.
And I'm sure it is unanimous. The LPA meeting has now been adjourned. We're going to transition into our regular meeting. Russell, will you please call the roll?
Councilmember McKay?
Here.
Councilmember Jablonski?
Here.
Councilmember Brighters?
Here.
Vice Mayor Fisickelli?
Here.
Mayor Nelson?
Here. We all stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And before I read this proclamation, Doug, I know that you had something to say for the record.
Yeah, I just want, after passing that last item, and there'll be something else in this that we're going to pass later in this, but I want the neighborhood of Rolling Oaks to realize that until there's a site plan approval related to 104th Avenue, when and if it were to ever get instructed, until there's a site plan approval that Rolling Oaks agrees with, I will not vote for it. So I just wanted to set the record straight.
Okay. Thank you, Doug. Okay, December, all these wonderful things you do, and it's getting close to the third Friday in January and Arbor Day, and it's just a tribute and amazing, all the great things that you do, and you wear all these hats, and it just gets better every day. But in recognition of Arbor Day, I know this is a part of the process is well to be eligible for all the wonderful things associated with being a Tree City USA. If I could read the proclamation for the record, and maybe we can get down and get a photograph, that would be much appreciated. But come on up, December. Again, this is in recognition of you and your program and all your hard work as well. Yeah, absolutely give a round of applause. Whereas in 1872, Sterling Morton proposed at the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees, and whereas this holiday called Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world, and whereas in accordance with the policy and goals of the town of Southwest Ranches comprehensive plan adopted May the 8th, 2003, the town set forth measurable objectives for the protection and enhancement of critical ecological systems integral to South Florida's and the town's natural environment, including the maintenance and improvement of air quality by increasing tree coverage in the town and by meeting the standards to become recognized by the National Arbor Day Foundation as a Tree City USA. And whereas on December the 20th, 2007, Southwest Ranches was recognized as a Tree City USA, and whereas continuing to meet the standards for designation as a Tree City USA provides direction for management of the town's tree resources, encourages public education about tree care, and promotes a sense of pride in the community. And whereas Southwest Ranches has continued to meet all standards and requirements for continuing designation as Tree City USA and will be recognized in the 2015 for its 9th consecutive year. And whereas the annual proclamation of Arbor Day in Southwest Ranches is a requirement for continuing recognition as Tree City USA. That's not the reason for its proclamation, obviously. December, very supportive of this program and all the wonderful things associated with it. And whereas trees reduce the erosion of topsoil, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce life-giving oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife, and whereas trees in our town increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas and beauty of our community, Now therefore it be proclaimed by the Town Council of the Town of Southwest Ranches that annually the third Friday in January shall be recognized as Arbor Day in the Town of Southwest Ranches. Further, the council urges all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day, to support efforts to protect our tree resources, and to plant trees to gladden the heart and promote the well-being of this and future generations. Dated this 11th day of December 2014. Congratulations, December. And if we can go down and, great job. Give this to December and get a photograph to preserve this in our history. Also makes us eligible for Okay, this meeting is hereby, no, I'm just kidding. Next item on the agenda is a quasi-judicial item. Where is, I know Jeff is, where'd Jeff go? We lost our town manager, we lost Jeff. We're in trouble.
well.
Why don't we read the resolution?
You're
for
in
the
charge,
record,
Russell.
Russell, and then we'll work our way into it.
Okay, this is a waiver of plat. It's consideration of waiver of plat application WP-009-14, Fernando and Darrell Portella, owners. Police Land Surveyors, Inc., petitioner to subdivide a 5-acre parcel to create 2 lots of 2.55 and 2.45 acres respectively. Property generally located on the west side of James B. Pirtle Avenue, also known as Southwest 127th Avenue, approximately 1,000 feet north of Sterling Road, within the Rural Ranches zoning district, which allows 1 dwelling unit per 2 net acres, legally described as a portion of tracts 59 and 60 in section 35, Township 50 South, Range 40 East, according to the Florida Fruitlands Company Subdivision Number 1, recorded in Plat Book 2, page 17 of the Public Records of Dade County, Florida, lying within the east one-half of the east one-half of the north one-half of the southwest one-quarter of the southeast one-quarter of said section 35, less therefrom from the north 257.17 feet, as measured along the east line of said southwest one-quarter, said land situate lying and being in Broward County, Florida.
That
Thank you,
legal
Russ.
description bought me some time, huh?
Yes.
Before I turn it over to Jeff, Mr. Brady, just set up the rules.
Mayor, this is a quasi-judicial hearing. The applicant has the burden to prove by substantial competent evidence that it has met all of the objective standards and criteria that would apply to obtaining the permission. The burden shifts to the commission, or to the council, to show that, assuming that the applicant makes that proof, that there would be something really bad that would happen to the community. Otherwise, the applicant is entitled to an approval.
Thank you, Mr. Brady. Is there any members of the public wish to comment or testify on this item? If that's the case, we need you to raise your right hand, and Russell will swear you in. Russell?
Do you swear that the testimony you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Thank you very much. Jeff?
Thank you, Mayor. This is a waiver of plat application, which is an authorization from the town council to, in this case, re-subdivide a property. This is a 4.62 net acre property. It consists of 2 lots, and the applicant is seeking to relocate the common property line approximately 73 feet to the south to create 2 lots that are over 2 net acres each. And the resulting subdivision would result in 1 lot that is about 2 1/4 acres and the other that is about 2 1/3 acres, and this is net acreage. Both lots, as proposed, comply with all of our regulations for zoning. And we have no objections from most of our utility companies. Also, the existing improvements on the property will comply with the setbacks from this new property line, so we're not creating any nonconformities here. That said, council has several options. You can deny with a finding that this application fails to show by substantial competent evidence that they've met the requirements of the ULDC. You can table for additional information, or you can approve with a finding that the applicant has demonstrated by substantial competent evidence that they have met the requirements of the ULDC. And in the case you do approve it, we recommend that you add the cost recovery provision plus 5% administrative fee that we have included in the staff report recommendation.
Thank you, Jeff. Ms. Please.
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Jane Storms, Police Land Surveyors, 5381 Nob Hill Road, Sunrise, Florida.
Thank you very much. And you obviously are representing the applicant.
That was
Sure,
quick.
absolutely. Counsel?
I'll make a motion to approve with the staff recommendations for cost recovery and the 5%.
Second.
Motion is second, approved, subject to the conditions that Mr. Kadams has confirmed. Any members of the public wish to comment on this item? Seeing no public comment, it's now closed. Again, we have a motion and a second approved, subject to the conditions that Mr. Kadams has established. Russ, will you call the roll, please?
Councilmember McKay?
Yes.
Councilmember Jablonski?
Yes.
Councilmember Bright Cruz?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fisickelli?
Yes.
Mayor Nelson?
Yes, that is the conclusion of our quasi-judicial items, and item number 4. Going into item number 5, which is public comment. I think, Mr. Brady, we have, 6?
Mayor, we have 6 persons we invite to speak in the following order. First, Mr. Folletta. Second, Ms. Hollingsworth. And then Mr. Lackey.
You're up, Vince.
But we're inviting Vince. We're inviting first. And then Ms. Wolf, Ms. Green,
Mayor, Councilman
and Ms. Newman.
Vince Folletta from Sunshine Ranches. It's with a great disturbance that I just received knowledge that my neighbor had received a letter which caused her and him great discomfort, because I've known them for at least 30 years. And what I'm alluding to is a letter to them saying that their property was not buildable. I don't know whether this was done because of lack of knowledge of our zoning or just lack of knowledge, period. And I am sure that the administrator has attended to this, but still in all, it caused our friends and neighbors, Bill and Rachel Green, a great discomfort for a great number of days. And like I said, I've known them for 30 years, and I know that they've had that property for 30 years or more when they first bought it before they even built. And I hope that maybe we should pay attention to Vice Mayor Fisichelli's suggestion that we have an in-house planning and zoning department with the proper credentials. Thank you.
Thank you, Vince. Joanna? It's good to see you.
See you. Good evening, Mayor, Council, Administration, Town Attorney. I'm here this evening to again announce that we are having our 4th annual Southwest Ranches Fun Horse Show this Saturday, December 13th. Registration starts at 8 o'clock, and we still could use some volunteers. So I hope that we will get them, and someone will call tomorrow or come to the show. It's open to all competitors up to age 18. Therefore, our youth riders in all divisions. We have application entry forms at the back this evening if you'd like to take them, or they are online if you'd like to fill them out online and bring them. We have wonderful sponsors, Ornstein and Lear, Florida Power and Light, Finish Line Feed, Community Bank, Edible Arrangements, Publix, Hollingsworth Family Suburban Pool, and the Astronaut Foundation. So the show is completely taken care of by our wonderful sponsors. Again, it is 8 o'clock in the morning, Saturday. Get up bright and early because the riders will be there, and you will have a wonderful day. There will be food available, and there will be some of our sponsors present. So I'd like everyone to go out and thank them very much for their participation in this show. Thank you.
Thank you, Joanne.
Mr. Lasky is next, Mayor.
Jim Lasky, 188th Avenue. The last time I was here, I talked about these radios. These radios software is totally interchangeable with Motorola. In fact, they have licensing agreements between the two. I don't understand why we can't get authorization to try a pair of radios for free. They're already compliant with P25 standard, as well as about 20 other radios. $6,500 a unit is a material fact to our budget, wouldn't you say? And to be off that much, these radios would run you around $4,000, perhaps in the high threes. We want to get you a pair of radios to try. The other thing I asked about was the this stroke app. I asked Andy Burns about this. This is pretty cool stuff, and it's written by some pretty credible people with the University of Miami and the University of Nebraska and a couple other colleges. And I want to know if we found out anything about that yet. It's advanced life support. It's where you treat a stroke person on the scene with anticoagulants before they ever get to the hospital. So if you have, let's say, 20 minutes left in the critical 30-minute or 60-minute window of stroke treatment, you can do it in the field. And everything would be uploaded real time. I think it'd be a great advantage for this town, and possibly, although I heard tonight that the volunteer fire department is prohibited from doing much of this kind of stuff. Is there a reason why they're prohibited from doing this kind of treatment? Is it in the charter or something, or is it insurance?
A combination of all that, not equipped, and I'm not sure how many of them are certified.
This app, oh yeah, I understand. This app, it costs $15,000 to certify 24 individuals. What's the price of an iPhone? That's the equipment you're using plus the drugs. It sounds like pretty cheap technology. When you consider that if you spent $15,000 for 24 people, that's got to be the financial setback for one guy that gets a stroke. So anyway, it's something.
And Jim, contact Monopole. You know, Davey provides EMS services, and the volunteer fire department is there to support us, and encourage you to get in touch with Chief Monopole. And
we did.
Okay, how did that? We'll talk about that.
Okay.
Okay, I
Send a
appreciate
memo.
it. Great suggestions. Thank you.
Ms. Wolf?
Ruth Wolf, Sunshine Ranches, 13320 Luray Road, and Southwest Ranches. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council.
Ruth, we can't hear you,
staff,
sweetheart.
and the audience.
Hey, Ruth, can you just speak into the microphone? We can't
Oh,
hear you,
sorry.
sweetheart. Thank you.
I'll try. I apologize in putting my thoughts on paper, but I want to remember them. I'm hope before you to compliment our Councilman Steve Brightcruz on articles he writes in the DRW magazine, which is this magazine.
One second. Gentlemen, Jim, we can hear you all the way up here. Thank you. I apologize, Ruth. Go ahead.
Well, again, in the DRW magazine, especially in the December article. Thank you. He lets people outside of our community of what we are all about and things we do and people who make it possible. Southridge Ranches has become a town to protect and to continue our rural lifestyle. Keep on writing, Steve, and I will keep on reading your articles and hope other people will. Bless you, your family, and everyone here. A happy holiday season.
Thank you, Ruth. Rachel Green.
Excuse my voice and my cold. Rachel Green, 6901 Hancock Road. I'm here to thank Jeff Cadams for clearing up a mess caused by Robert Solera, Community Development Director for the town of Southwest Ranches. My husband Bill and I purchased a 2.5-acre lot way back in April of 1967. And in May of that same year, we purchased the adjoining lot of 2.5 acres as an investment. The lots were under separate deeds. We are now at a point in our lives that we want to sell the second piece of property. We have a potential buyer, and when they requested info from the town about the property, they were told in a letter from Robert Solera that the lot was unbuildable due to size. When we objected, a second letter was written stating the lot was buildable, but only if someone else owned the land at the time of permitting. We objected to this letter and went into Davie to seek help from Jeff Cadams. We now have a letter stating that both letters from Mr. Solera were in error and the lots, both of them, are buildable regardless of who owns them. Mr. Solera's findings were totally incorrect and could cause our buyer not to buy. If this happens, we feel we have just cause for a lawsuit. We love this town and would not want to do this, but in my opinion, an incompetent employee could cause financial damage to the town. Thanks again, Jeff, for helping us with this matter, and hopefully the buyer will complete the sale of the lot. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. Hope you feel better.
Barry Noonsey.
Good evening, gentlemen. Barry Nunzig, 163 and Sterling Road. Okay, you had your fire meeting when I got back into town. I got a copy of it, and I listened to it twice, all 6 hours. Anyway, there were some things in there that I wanted to go over. During that meeting, we had Leslie Kastner and Chief Bennett tell you guys that I don't tell the truth. And that kind of bothers me a bit because all the information I give to you is documented information. Okay, when I was talking about the volunteers and their pay, I kind of told you what Plantation was getting. I was comparing the two, volunteer to volunteer. And when Leslie Kastner and Chief Bennett got up, they told you what the paid side of Plantation gets. When I got back into town, I called the chief of plantation to confirm what I had told you guys earlier, and the only change that there was is that plantation does not have a volunteer assistant chief. They are volunteer, it's a volunteer deputy chief, and the stipend is $400 a month and $7 per call. That's what the chiefs get. A lot of other information. Steve, I know you were talking about the PSSI report. I keep trying to explain to you and everybody here that the PSSI report is not a good report. It was done with the wrong information going in. When the wrong information goes in, you get bad information coming out. As an example, we are a rural to barely suburban area. They used urban or metropolitan standards. The difference is in travel times, the comparison of starting at Weston Road and Griffin Road. One car going north to 84, one car going west to 27. You go north on Weston Road, you have tons of traffic lights, tons of traffic. That's kind of a metropolitan area. They have over 80,000 people in that city. You go west through Southwest Ranches, there's one traffic light from Weston Road to 27. You can do 45 miles an hour, 50 miles an hour. You go north, you'd be lucky if you average 20. So when you have that difference in time, that's why a rural area can have their departments spaced further apart. Okay? That's why it's important to have the proper designation when you do those reports. You also have comments. Freddie had a comment about his wife and the crew that came in there and helped him out. Crew that came in there and helped him out, used the computer. That was Davey. That was not the volunteers. Okay. The other lady, a girl named Kathy, was up here, talking about her husband had a stroke, and they came in and they did the work on him and transported him within 20 minutes. That was Davey that did the work. As you guys know, the volunteers cannot start drugs, cannot start IVs. If you are depending on them as a backup for your dire emergencies, you have a false sense of security. They're not going to be there to do it. It's not the guys on the truck's fault. They don't have the equipment. They don't have the drugs. They don't have the licenses to do it. This falls under Chief Bennett and Leslie Kastner's failure to take that department and make the plan that we asked them to make 2 years ago when we first started the Fire Advisory Board. There's where your problem is. There's been no plan even started by those people who are in charge of the volunteer fire department to go towards the future. There's where your downfall is. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That concludes item number 5, public comment. Item number 6, any members of boards that are here would like to comment on anything? Seeing none, item 6 is done. Item number 7, council member comments. Any members of council? Steve?
Yeah, just a couple quick things. Number one, Keith isn't here, but I do want to just bring up that we need to get some assistance. Jim, maybe you can kind of relay this on to him, that it's time that we get some assistance going with this grant. We're working on a grant for potential public safety grant in place, and just have not heard anything back on that, so I'd like to hear back if I could on that. And then the other thing, I just wanted to take a moment to mention that there was a real tragedy in the west side of town in the last couple of weeks. And really hits home in that, our families are out here. My daughter rides horses an incredible amount. And it could have happened to anybody. It was a skilled rider. And it was just a real tragedy. And so my heart goes out to that family, words can't explain it, but just wanted to mention it, and just if we could just have a moment of silence for that family, I'd appreciate it. Great, thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Any other council member comments? Ready?
Me go? Yeah, a couple things. I was able to attend a meeting last night about Holiday Park. The Broward County's got some big plans for that park. I don't know how much y'all have had an opportunity to look at it. While I was there last night, I asked a question. I know I introduced myself as vice mayor, about how they felt about Griffin Road, because they're doing a lot of improvements to improve the entrance to the park itself. I said, do you people feel that it's adequate? It's the two-lane road. They said, we have no plans for Griffin Road. From here, we're planning on doing most of our stuff west of US 27. But I felt that it's been a hot topic here. We'd like to know where they stand, but they have no plans. Some of the figures that were kind of astounding to me, right at the present time, they're handling 2,783 people a month. They're handling 228,130 people a year out there at that park, and it's mostly tourists that's in here that's being bused over there to get on those airboat rides and do those airboat rides. But the county, to the point, has already spent $6.8 million out there and planned to spend a lot more. The South Florida Water Management District has donated $800,000 to four-lane that bridge that's going across there now. And what their big plans are, if any of y'all are familiar with the place, as you come over that bridge before, you dumped into a parking lot that was there. That's going to be gone. That's going to be made into a beautiful area for people. And all the traffic would, as it comes over the new two-lane bridge, will go to the south around the existing structures and come in. There won't be any more parking lot right in that middle. I'm a little disappointed because they didn't have much to hand out last night, but I talked to the lady there and she assured they were going to send everybody that signed up something on the internet. I called her twice today. Unfortunately, I was at an MPO meeting most of the time. I was hoping to be able to give you some little bit of input because there's a lot of things. They're planning on big fishing tournaments out there. There's all kind of changes in the works for that park, and I think we really need to keep on board with what's coming on. One thing that I did, I talked to the lady from Broward County last night after the meeting, because from US 27, that's our road, and I didn't know what they planned. And she expressed to me that Broward County has interest in taking over that road, which I talked to the town administrator about it today, and it might be to our advantage. I mean, we're spending a lot of money repairing roads. Why do we want to repair a road out there for somebody else? But anyway, I'm not positive on this, but I'm pretty sure I heard in some of their plans that they're planning on building a restaurant out there. I do know that they said that Pembroke Pines is going to supply city water to the place out there. That's part of their project. But it's quite a big thing that's going on. And I'm interested in two concerns because I'm a sportsman. I use that place a lot. And the fact is, there's going to be another meeting. What it is, South Florida Water Management District has set up what they call a RAC committee. That's what it does. They meet every quarter to discuss recreation on their property, and this is going to be a topic next Monday night in West Palm Beach about this actual thing. I know my son and all of them are very concerned because we do a lot of duck hunting out of that place, do a lot of fishing out of that place, and they're going to make a lot of changes in the boat ramps and everything, and we got to make sure that we got adequate space for it. But really, overall, it looks like it's going to be, I think we're going to lose our little park that we had before that we could go to on the weekends. I think it's going to be turned into a big tourist attraction out there now, which it really is now, and it's a shame, but we want to keep on board on what's coming on out there. Like I say, their plans are to take the one-lane bridge out, put in a two-lane bridge, and everything. That, and I got something that I want to get the council's opinion on, and the only time I can is something like here. My church is on Flamingo, so to go to my church every time, and I do a lot of work at the church, I have to go down Sterling Road. And something irritates me, I go down Sterling Road when I have to go over those rumble strips. I've talked to Andy about it, and he said, well, it's up to the council. I don't know what those rumble strips are there for. I know one thing, I just bought a new car, and every time I go over it, I think of what's happened to my front end of that car bouncing over those daggum rumble strips. But personally, I think they're a hazard, because what people are doing, they know they're there, and when they come up to them, they swing to the south side, and they're going the wrong way on the road on the south side to get around them. And I just want to know how the rest of y'all feel about them, but I'd like to see them removed unless they can I don't see any advantage to them. And
Freddie, my opinion, just to jump in and join you on this.
Go ahead.
I think they can get rid of at least two of the ones farthest to the west. It's just to bring to people's attention that they've entered the town of Southwest Ranches, and the speed limit is now 25 because it goes from 40.
yeah, I know, I've been told that's the same thing, and they do get your attention. Without a doubt, they get your attention. But I do see a safety hazard in it, because I don't know how many people you see, but I myself, when I see I got a clear road, I swing away from them, go around them till I get the others to come back on.
I drive on them almost every morning because I drop my son at school at about 7 over in Cooper City, and I come back through the middle of on Sterling Road. What I do is I straddle it to the right and just miss the two right side wheels, so just the left side wheels go over them. So I know what you're talking about.
But anyway, it's the only chance I have to get y'all's opinion on it. I just want to let you know, one councilman's opinion doesn't.
I'm on board with them moving the two to the farthest to the west.
That's all I got, thank you.
Don't follow that example, though. Just kidding. Just kidding. Freddie, thank you. Ahead, Steve.
Can I just respond to kind of
Absolutely.
Freddie's? I mean, I would defer to the people that live there and have to deal with that traffic. That's what I would defer to be honest with you, Freddie. You know, I've driven over it occasionally just because, you know, my travels have taken me through there, but I don't have to put up with the traffic that goes on Sterling Road day in, day out. So if the people that live there feel like it's assisting them, then I would support keeping it. If it's just more of a hassle than it is a benefit, then I would support taking them out, you know. That's.
Thanks, Steve. Gary?
As the guy that put them in, chimes in. It was an experimental project. They are effective. I think we found that out. We have a workshop coming up on Sterling Road, and I believe that will probably be a very big topic of discussion in that, and I'd really urge everybody to kind of wait to see the results of that workshop coming out. I do not believe it's been scheduled yet, but there have been participants that have signed up for it. Andy, could you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, just to be clear, it's not a council workshop, it's a community meeting, and we're in the process. We had one meeting with members of the community to address some of their concerns. We've been working on a few different ideas, and we're going to be bringing in a smaller group of them sometime in the next few weeks, assuming the holidays don't interfere with that, but we'll be bringing them in as quickly as we can to have that meeting and get that feedback from the community. There are some people who like them, some people who don't, but now that they've been there for a while, they've had a chance to get used to them. We'll get that feedback from those people who live in that community and deal with the traffic over there on a daily basis. And just one thing that we have done to try to alleviate, because I know there were people who were swinging out trying to go around them, we have double yellow striped around those, and we've alerted Davie Police to ticket for people who are passing improperly, because we don't want that safety hazard. Somebody swings around those rumble strips, and they're looking at oncoming traffic. If they're not doing that safely, obviously it's a concern not only to them, but to the innocent people who are coming towards them as well. So we're very concerned with that.
Yeah, if I may. Thank you, Mayor. Just a few things here I've got coming up. We have our holiday food and toy drive benefiting our military and their families, and we're looking for donations for toys, longevity and food items such as beef jerky, Slim Jims, granola bars, things like that we can send to the troops. and baby wipes, things of that nature, foil packed of tuna and chicken and things of that nature. And in the past, we've done quite a tremendous effort, and a lot of support has gone into the food and toy drive, and I'd like to announce that to everybody so that it continues. And the other thing is, as Ms. Hollingworth said, we have a horse show coming up this Saturday. It's a lot of fun. It's really cool. There's a lot of horses. There's a lot of kids there. There's a lot of young kids on horses. It's really well thought out, well planned, well executed, and I urge everybody to come to that this Saturday morning at the Equestrian Park. And I'll finish up with the last thing. Last meeting, I spoke to the administration about putting on the agenda a resolution regarding 184th, 4-lane, 2-lane, et cetera. That's on hold for the moment. I thought it was a pretty cut and dry thing, but as you know in life, things are not always as they seem, and it's a work in progress right now, and I need to speak with our legal counsel when he gets back in town, so I don't know when I'll be bringing it back, but it will be in the future. So I just wanted to give you an update on that and why it's not on the agenda today. So, and that's it.
Thank you, Gary. And just another thing about the agenda, I know initially we had on the agenda review of Marty and Andy tonight, and at their request to pull it, we obviously complied, and I think that we'll see it again probably in January. So again, initially that was scheduled, but at their request, we pulled it. I appreciate Steve, that comment, and Doug, yeah, from the bottom of my heart to be in there and part of it, know how you all feel. You know, one of the most difficult and heart-wrenching things is to be subjected to an event like that, and you know, mom there and daughter's 400 yards away, and been told that she was deceased, but needless to say, it was a very heart-wrenching, heartbreaking event. And this young lady was a student at Cypress Bay High School, and you know, unfortunately, when you have 4,500 kids, you know, this is something that's been happening all too often, and it becomes still embedded in your mind, this routine, and the fact that it happened on a horse. And a horse that was here in the town of Southwest Ranches is even more heart-wrenching. I know that we're still waiting on the results. I was talking to Captain Moore earlier, and Captain, thank you for your efforts. You were there to keep us updated. We were constantly in communication with Mom and the family, and I know Doug being there, and appreciate all your efforts, and that a detective brilliant as well. When we know something, because I know everybody's curious, but this is something that's happens in this town with regards to people riding horses. We see it all the time, and when you have an incident of this magnitude, it is heartbreaking. So Captain Moore has told me that when we get those results, we'll pass them along to you so that everybody knows. And again, Steve, thank you, and our thoughts and prayers will go out to that family. Wonderful people. I had an opportunity. I did meet Mom, and I did have a subsequent conversation with Dad. There was a service on Saturday. She was a wonderful young lady, scheduled to graduate early, and who in a million years, you know, and us as parents and having kids, I couldn't imagine sitting in, having to be there in her shoes. Needless to say, it very heart-wrenching and heartbreaking. And this time of the years, especially this time of the year, especially being a holiday, you know, make sure this is a time for your family. And I make sure that I don't miss in the morning, and when they come home at night, my wife and my kids, let them know how much that you love them, and it's a confirmation of that. It's all about you know, health and your family and a few friends and all this other stuff. You know, it eventually falls into place. And when you have these types of incidents of this magnitude that are this heartbreaking and this heart-wrenching, it puts things into perspective. And quite frankly, a lot of things really don't matter. So from the bottom of my heart, and I know as Steve had done it so well earlier, our thoughts and prayers go out to the family. And from all of us here, we wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and hope it is a wonderful New Year. God bless everybody. So with that being said, that concludes council member comments. And Mr. Brady, unless you have any comments?
Mayor, it's always a pleasure to be here. You make me feel at home, and I thank you for letting me sit with you.
Well, listen, it's an honor and a privilege to have you. Your reputation precedes you. It's always a pleasure to see you, Mr. Brady, and we don't mind at all that occasionally Keith has to, be in attendance at another function, because we know we're in great hands. And
Thank you, Mayor.
again, thank you so much. Andy, administration comments, item number 9.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I wasn't quite ready. I'm not used to legal comments being so brief. Just a couple of things. There's been a lot of comments made about the horse show. Just a couple of things I want to add to that. I want to thank Joanne Hollingsworth for her hard work on that. She's just been absolutely wonderful for us to work with, and certainly a key player in the success of this event. And, followed very closely is December, Susan and Sandy, who have worked very closely from a staff standpoint. And I'm really looking forward to Saturday. I think we're going to have a tremendous event again. And just the other thing that I'll add to that, which is tagging on to my December article in our town newsletter, is one thing that we're looking to build up is a greater team of volunteers, town residents who are ready to jump in and help us with events like that, or the craft fair, whether it's the chili cook-off, whatever it may be. So I'm going to be calling again in January, looking for a roster that we can have ready to go and jump in and help us with some of those events. We've got, Fishing Hole Park and the barn coming online, so, we're teed up to be able to have some more events and put some more things out there for our residents. We're just going to need a little help to do that. We're also moving forward with a lot of the projects that we have from our state appropriations, and so, as you know, you've approved contracts recently for survey companies and for engineers. We're working with them and assigning them. So I just want to tell you now that some of the money that we'll spend on those projects from an engineering standpoint or surveying may exceed overall my authority of $10,000. I just want to assure you that none of those individual projects will exceed that. And the pricing is predetermined based upon the contracts that you would all approve. So we're looking to move forward with that and keep those things going as quickly as we can. I just want to share that with you. And last but not least, since this is our last meeting for this year, I wish you all and our residents a very happy holiday and a healthy new year. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Andy. Ditto. Okay, that concludes administration comments. Item number 10. This, again, is the second reading. Would you read the ordinance for the record, Russell, and then I'll turn it over to Jeff.
An ordinance of the Town of Southwest Ranches, Florida, repealing Article 155 entitled Administrative Farm Claim Determinations of the town's Unified Land Development Code in its entirety, and replacing it with a new Article 155 entitled Non-Commercial Farm Special Exceptions, amending Article 10, Definition of Terms, Section 010-030, to create a new definition for farm and to provide a definition for a non-commercial farm, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, providing for inclusion in the code, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you, Russell. Unless you have any comments, Andy, I'll turn it over to Jeff.
Yep, no, that's fine, Mayor.
Thank you. Jeff?
Thank you, Mayor. Unless you want me to go into more detail, I'm going to very briefly summarize both this ordinance, items number 10 and 11, work in tandem. And what they do is attempt to make as whole as possible the hobby farmers that we have in the town that lost their protections under the Right to Farm Act when it changed over a year ago. And what happens is with these ordinances, somebody who has a hobby farm but does not qualify as a bona fide farm under Florida statutes, which requires a property appraiser's agricultural exemption, they have the opportunity to request special consideration from either the town administrator or the council, depending upon the extent of the relief that they're looking for to locate a farm building or a farm structure within a setback or exceed some other zoning requirement that we had previously provided relief for bona fide farms, as we call them now, the commercial farms. So these ordinances work together to try to make the hobby farmers whole as much as we can. We can't control the building code, and we can't grandfather anybody under the building code, but we can do it with zoning, and we can also allow for some administrative relief for these hobby farmers, and that's what these ordinances do.
Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate that very much. Council?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second to approve. Any members of the public wish to comment on this item? Seeing no public comment. Public comment is, oh, I'm sorry, Joanne, I apologize. We would never, ever, ever forget about you.
Joanne Hollingsworth, Southwest 199th Avenue, in the town of Southwest Ranches. I just want to urge the council to please pass this and give our residents relief. We've been waiting a very, very long time. It goes back and forth, back and forth. Please pass this tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Joanna. Any other public comment? Public comment is now closed. Council, back to you, and we have a motion, a second, to approve. Any additional questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none, call the question. Russell?
Councilmember Bright Cruz?
Yes.
Councilmember McKay?
Yes.
Councilmember Jablonski?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fisickelli?
Yes.
Mayor Nelson?
Yes. Item number 11, again, second reading of an ordinance. Would you read it for the record, please, Russell?
It's an ordinance of the Town of Southwest Ranches, Florida, amending the town's Unified Land Development Code to distinguish between farms and non-commercial farms and applicable regulations, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, providing for inclusion in the code, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you, Russell. As Jeff said, this is part of his explanation. It kind of coattails off of item number 10. And I don't think, Jeff, you have any other additional questions or comments? Council?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second to approve. I think I'll see if there's any public comment, Freddie, and then I'll get back to you. Any members of the public wish to comment on this item? Seeing no public comment, public comment is now closed. Freddie?
Yeah, I'd like to make a little statement on this a little bit because it's very personal with me. Actually, you know what we're talking about, the Right to Farm Act. And really what the Right to Farm Act was done for, and I fall into that category, and I'm very small compared to how this is up in the middle of the state. But my partners and I came out here in 1965 and we bought 40 acres because we wanted to live in the country and we wanted to fool with cows, which we did. We didn't even apply for ag exemption then because the taxes were nothing. But what's happened now, just for to say up myself, I've got 7 acres under cattle exemption. Right now, our town is charging $4,500 an acre for that, which I would have to pay if I didn't have my ag exemption. And this was made for people like us. We're surrounded by cities. We like to live like we want to live, and it's protect the farmers so they, like a while back, I had some problems, and the Broward County lady come out and talked to me about some of the problems I had on my taxes and stuff like that. And she says, well, you should move. I said, no, I was here before the people were here. Why should I have to move? I said, most of us, this is what we're here for. We like this life of lifestyle. And this is what this Right to Farm Act helps us do. And it helps us. I mean, some of the big farmers up north and everything up there, that's the only way they can survive. So I know it hurts some people, and I know what these people are trying to do with this, and I'm for it 100%. And if I could do anything I could do to make us stronger, I would. It's just a problem because I know I have personal friends. They got horses, and they want to build a barn for that poor horse to stand in and get it the heck out of the sun, and they can't even do it unless they get a building permit and do this. And there's got to be a way, I don't know. I've always said just why don't they just turn their back and just forget about us and let us do what we want to do? Unfortunately, nowadays, that don't happen, so we just got to fight it. It's politics, and we're part of politics, so I guess we have to live with it.
Thank you, Freddie. Comments well taken. Any other additional questions or comments or concerns? Seeing none, we have a motion, a second to approve. Call the question, please, Russell.
Councilmember Brighters?
Yes.
Councilmember McKay?
Yes.
Councilmember Jablonski?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fisickelli?
Yes.
Mayor Nelson?
Yes, item number 12, ordinance on the first reading. Absolutely. Russell?
An ordinance of the Town of Southwest Ranches, Florida, amending objectives and policies within several elements of the adopted Town of Southwest Ranches Comprehensive Plan pertaining to Broward County Land Use Plan consistency requirements, intergovernmental coordination, and local street connections, providing for transmittal to the State Land Planning Agency, providing for recertification by the Broward County Planning Council, providing for conflict, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you, Russell. Andy, if you don't have any comments, I'll turn it over to Jeff. Jeff?
Thank you, Mayor. My presentation from the LPA hearing, I'd like to enter that into the record and recommend that the council take the LPA's recommendation and approve this ordinance on second reading, or first reading, rather.
Thank you, Jeff. Council?
Motion to approve.
Subject to
Second.
how it
Conditions,
was
absolutely.
Mayor, you want to,
Subject to how it was read.
read in the LPA?
Mayor, you want to incorporate
Yeah,
the
the
Changes.
modifications, yes, the
Same
changes.
purpose.
revisions?
Yeah, the same, again, for the record, we have a motion and a second to approve, subject to the
Earlier changes.
right, the earlier changes. Okay. Any members of the public wish to comment on this item, which we had talked about and discussed previously? Seeing none, public comment is now closed. Again, we have a motion and a second to approve.
Mayor, would you
Sure,
humor
absolutely.
me? Would you humor me?
Absolutely.
Would you move the amendments, act on that motion, on the amendments, and if that passes, then entertain the ordinance as amended?
Okay, you're talking about the two modifications. Act on the two modifications and then the item.
Yes.
Okay, no problem. So we'll withdraw the motion in the second, and
Withdraw the motion.
we get a motion and a second to approve those two modifications, and I think we'll read them for the record again to confirm those. Council?
I'll make a motion to amend the motion with the two items.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. And again, for the record, Russell, because I know you have them handy there.
I just want to make sure I have them here. It's here somewhere. Apologize. Okay, so I believe
No pressure.
this was...
Yeah, no pressure, Russell.
This was, okay, hold on 1 second. I have it here. Okay. So this was to change TE Policy 1.2E to state local street connections with Southwest 184th Avenue shall not be permitted. And that street connections may be provided from the west only if 184th Avenue remains a two-lane road. That's for 1.2E, is that correct?
Pretty close, yes.
And then for TE Policy 1.2F, to change the language to vehicular access to the Rolling Oaks community shall continue to be exclusively from Griffin Road via Southwest 178th Avenue. It shall be the policy of the town to prohibit street connections that would provide additional access.
Perfect. Thank you, Russell. Any members, we have motion and a second to approve. Any members of the public wish to comment again on those two modifications? Bob?
Yeah, I don't understand on the first one what difference it makes if 184th is 2-lane or 4-lane as to whether you're going to have a connection from the west. If you're coming from the west, if it's desirable to have a connection from the west to 184th, what difference does it make whether it's 184th is a 2-lane or a 4-lane road? Makes no difference at all. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Any other public comment? Seeing none, public comment is now closed. Again, we have a motion and a second to approve. Steve?
Yeah, just to address that, my understanding, and I have not heard this, but from what others have heard, that by putting in access to 184th from either side, but we're only talking about the west, that could be a trigger that would tell the state or the county that this road needs to be a 4-lane road. And so what we're saying is that if that type of trigger exists, then we would not put in that access. That's what it's about.
Thank you, Steve. Again, we have a motion and a second to approve. Any additional questions, comments, or concerns, council? Seeing none, call the question, please, Russell.
Sure. Excuse me. Councilmember Bright Cruz?
Yes.
Councilmember McKay?
Yes.
Councilmember Jablonski?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fisickelli?
Yes.
Mayor Nelson?
Yes, and again, item number 12, the ordinance.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second to approve.
With the
Any
change.
members of the public wish to comment on this item? Seeing none, public comment is now closed. Again, we have a motion and a second to approve. Any additional questions, comments, or concerns from the council? Seeing none, call the question, please, Russell.
Councilmember Bright Cruz?
Yes.
Councilmember McKay?
Yes.
Councilmember Jablonski?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fisickelli?
Yes.
Mayor Nelson?
Yes. Item number 13.
A resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Southwest Ranches, Florida, extending the term of the Comprehensive Plan Advisory Board, restating the board scope, authorizing town council members to administratively appoint board members, and providing an effective date.
Thank you, Russell. Andy?
Yeah, Mayor, if I may, we have the council's recommendation appointees. I'd like to go through those with you for each board as we go through each board and just verify with the council that you're okay with those appointments. Mayor Nelson, your appointment was Mike Schroeder. Vice Mayor Fisickelli is Bob Hartman. Councilmember Bright Cruz is Newell Hollingsworth. Councilmember Jablonski is Ken Sameta. And Councilmember McKay is George Morris. All 5 of those gentlemen have indicated desire to return. And so I want to make sure it's okay with council that we reappoint those 5. We do have some other applications from interested applicants as well. One of the applicants happens to be here in the audience this evening. We have also received applications from Lino De La Hera, Richard Price, Dave Reef, and Luis Rodriguez. I know Mr. Price is in the audience. I just want to make you aware.
Thank you, Andy. Council?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve, and I am looking at the application. I know that they have selected one, Mr. Reef, as a comp plan advisory board, but all those positions are filled. Everybody that served the last year has confirmed that they want to serve again this year. And I say your second choice is Recreation, Forestry, National Resources, and Advisory Board. We'll talk about that when we get to that committee. Again, we have a motion and a second to approve, confirming the members, and for another year. Any members of the public wish to comment on this item? Seeing none, public comment is now closed. Again, we have a motion and a second to approve, and confirming those members. I'm sorry, Gary, I apologize.
Yeah, I just have a question.
Sure.
The new applicants to that committee, are we saying yes to them, or
Well,
are we having that discussion at some other time? Or
we can listen. That was his
I'm just curious.
number one request, and you have what do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 members. Do we have? I mean, all those spots are filled.
No, I don't know. I'm just asking.
Yeah. So currently, under the what the reality is, all the spots are filled, and everybody that served on that board has requested that they be reappointed. So technically, we don't have any opportunity to fill another position. But they did request, maybe there's an opportunity on the second board.
Okay. No, I was just wondering what the consideration was. That's
So,
all. Okay.
Okay. Council, okay? Everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay, we have motion and a second to approve. Russell, call a question, please.
Councilmember Bright Cruz?
Yes.
Councilmember McKay?
Yes.
Councilmember Jablonski?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fisickelli?
Yes.
Mayor Nelson?
Yes, item 14.
A resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Southwest Ranches, Florida, extending the term of the Drainage and Infrastructure Advisory Board, restating the board's purpose and objectives, authorizing town council members to administratively appoint board members and providing an effective date.
Thank you, Russell. Appreciate it. Andy?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Just to go through the same process again, Mayor, your appointment to that board is John Herring. Vice Mayor Fisickelli has appointed Vince Paletta. Councilmember Bright Cruz has appointed John Monroe. Councilmember Jablonski has appointed Bob Hartman. Councilmember McKay has appointed Brian Hauteling. All 5 of those individuals have stated their desire to return. There are also 2 at-large members of that board that this council has approved previously, and they are John Eastman and Mary Gay Chapels.
And I assume that they want to continue to serve, too?
Correct.
Okay. Council?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve. Any members of the public wish to comment on this item? Seeing none, public comment is now closed, unless there's any additional questions, comments, or concerns. Council, Russell, call a question, please.
Councilmember Bright Cruz?
Yes.
Councilmember McKay?
Yes.
Councilmember Jablonski?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fisickelli?
Yes.
Mayor Nelson.
Yes. Item number 15.
A resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Southwest Ranches, Florida, extending the term of the Fire Advisory Board, restating the board's scope, authorizing Town Council members to administratively appoint board members, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you, Russell. Andy?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Just one other issue on this. Recognizing the fire board was originally formed to make a recommendation in light of the operational study, some other things that were being done. We've changed their scope slightly in that they're not required to meet monthly. They can meet at the direction of council should you give them a project to work on. And once again, I'm sorry, am I on the wrong?
Yeah, education.
I apologize, I'm on the wrong board. Rural Public Arts Board, I working from a different list, my apologies.
No, you're on the right board.
I got education.
Yeah, you're
We're
on item.
okay.
We're on item 15. You're on the right board.
My list is not in the correct order.
Oh, okay.
And
Not
that's
in
my
the right
fault.
order.
I
Gotcha.
apologize.
It's okay.
Mayor Nelson, your appointment is Jeff Morrell. Vice Mayor Fisickelli has appointed Barry Nunzig. Councilmember Bright Cruz has appointed Mike Fisickelli. Councilmember Jablonski has appointed Jeff Kastner. Councilmember McKay has appointed Dean Parkerson. And there are also 2 at-large members of that board, which are Vince Lombardi and Jeff Strickland. All those individuals have indicated their desire to return.
Thank you, Andy. Council?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion is second to approve. Any members of the public wish to comment? Barry?
Good evening, Barry Nunzig, 16300 Sterling Road. I'm the vice chairman on the Fire Advisory Board. I see no reason to have a Fire Advisory Board any longer. They did what they needed to do. They gave you the information that you guys wanted. You guys all know that Davey can provide the services to this town that's required. The volunteers are just extra people that really are just extra people. The Fire Advisory Board, when they first got together, they set out and they asked for a company to come in to give a recommendation. To me, that was $28,000. That was wasted money. We had all chiefs on the board except for Mr. Kastner, and they should have been able to do that in-house. They just basically passed the buck. The information they brought to the board, in my opinion, has been very weak. As far as other people on the board, Mr. Kastner is married to the volunteer assistant fire chief, and to me that is a conflict of interest. I think you guys should look at that seriously. There's no way that Mr. Kastner was ever going to vote to eliminate volunteers or even to eliminate that service because his wife is on that board. That's a conflict of interest. Dean Parkerson, you have the same situation with him. His son works for the volunteers, and there's no way that he's going to look at that without a biased thought in his mind. So those 2 people for sure should go if you keep the board. But as far as the board being needed, I don't think it's needed. You guys know what's going on. You know what the deal is. You can make decisions. It's there, and you just don't need it. It's going to be a waste of your town's resources to have somebody come in at night and sit around whenever we have that meeting, because there's really not going to be much to talk about. Thank you.
Thanks, Barry. Bob?
Bob Hartman, 5441 Southwest 198th Terrace. I'd recommend you reconsider one of your nominations. I mean, this fellow comes here every month saying the volunteers don't need to be here, but meanwhile, he's standing up to be on the board again. I see no point. I mean, if the guy doesn't want the board, why have him on the board? Thank you.
Any other public comment? Bob? Mr. Bush?
Bob Bush, I really think the board has outlived its usefulness. It accomplished what it was supposed to do, basically to review the actions of the contract with Davy and so forth, the town, and to look at somewhat of the future. You've had your meeting, last month, something like that, and reviewed that. The board basically has completed what the original function was, as far as I can see. If you don't go in that route, you certainly need to change some of the folks that are on that board. No one, I'm not talking about anyone specifically, but you need some people that are not oriented to just that organization, in that occupation. You need some people from the general public. Because I've attended a number of their meetings, and they simply do not get good questions. They do not dig in to find out what's going on. You need some members of the public rather than that very narrow group. It shouldn't have made a board that everybody is of the same background. So either eliminate them or put some members from the general public on that board. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Any other members of the public wish to comment on this item? Seeing no further public comment is now closed. Council, back to you all. Again, we've changed the scope and meet the direction of the council, and a lot of things were accomplished. The board accomplished a lot of things, and we can debate pros and cons, whatever, but appreciate their service, and they are available for us in the future in the event that we have other things to contemplate with regards to the direction of the fire department. And I do appreciate their service, and I do appreciate their time, and I also respect the opinions of those that spoke previously. With that being said, again, we have motion, a second, approved. Steve, I know you have a comment.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, just real quickly, I think I do appreciate what the board has done, and that they have put in a lot of time. I think that we are reflecting the fact that their major task is complete. We'll see what, if anything, comes up in the next year that they can assist with. It'll be great, I think, to have that board available to us. We may find at the end of the year that nothing came up. I don't know. I don't know what the next year is going to hold, but so we can revisit it next year. But I don't think there's going to be a lot of resources involved with the board unless they have something specific tasked to do. So I think we're on a pretty good footing where we're going.
Thank you, Steve. Any other questions, comments, or concerns, council? Again, we got a motion and a second to approve with the members that Andy confirmed. Russell, call the question, please.
Councilmember Bright Cruz?
Yes.
Councilmember McKay?
Yes.
Councilmember Jablonski?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fisickelli?
Yes.
Mayor Nelson?
Yes. Item number 16.
A resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Southwest Ranches, Florida, extending the term of the Recreation, Forestry, and Natural Resources Advisory Board, ratifying the board's purpose and objectives, authorizing Town Council members to administratively appoint board members, and providing an effective date.
Thank you, Russell. Andy?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. The appointments, as we have listed currently, are all actually returning board members. Mayor Nelson, your appointment is Deborah Goff Rose. Vice Mayor Fisickelli has appointed Astor Knight. Councilmember Bright Cruz will be appointing John Herring. Councilmember Jablonski has appointed Karen Parkerson. Councilmember McKay is appointing Marie Nix, and there are existing at-large board members there as well. They are Manny Hagan, Mary Gay Chaples, Kathy Sullivan, and Christina Brownlow.
And all have expressed...
All have expressed interest in
return.
returning. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve, and again, we do have an application. Mr. Reef, are you here?
It's Mr. Price.
Dave Reef?
Price.
Huh?
Price.
Mr. Price.
Is here.
Right? R-E-I-F-F?
No, that's the other
It's the one that applied today. but this one is-
Mr. Reif is not here? Because, listen, you fill out an application and desire to to serve, and this was, number one choice was the comp plan board, and the second one was this board. And unfortunately, not here to get a little bit of feedback. Is there some other opportunities in some of the other upcoming, I don't remember,
Well, certainly,
Andy.
council would have the opportunity to appoint at-large board members at a time in the future, should you choose to do so.
Okay. Okay, council, any additional questions, comments, or concerns? Again, we have...
Could I have a moment, Mayor?
Go ahead, absolutely, Steve, absolutely.
I thought we had enlarged the Parks Board. I was under the impression we enlarged, had more people on the Parks Board. So, well, I thought we had already done it. I didn't think they were all filled as,
There's 10.
okay,
All right, we're good. Thank you, Mayor.
okay.
Thank you, Steve.
I just got
Any additional questions, comments, or concerns? Again, we have a motion, a second to approve. Any members of the public wish to comment on this item? Seeing none, public comment is now closed. Russell, call the question, please.
Councilmember Bright Cruz?
Yes.
Councilmember McKay?
Yes.
Councilmember Jablonski?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fisickelli?
Yes.
Mayor Nelson?
Yes, item number 17.
A resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Southwest Ranches, Florida, extending the term of the Rural Public Arts and Design Advisory Board, restating the board scope, authorizing Town Council members to administratively appoint board members, and providing an effective date.
Thank you, Russell. Andy?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Most appointees are returning. I'll go through the list that I have from council. Mayor Nelson, your appointment to that board is D. Schroeder. Vice Mayor Fisickelli has appointed Joan Boyd. Councilmember Bright Cruz will be appointing Karen French. Councilmember Jablonski has appointed Manny Hagan. Councilmember McKay has appointed Ken Semeta, and there are also two at-large board members on that board as well. They are Karen Parkerson and Rose Albritton.
And both have confirmed a willingness to serve for another year.
All names have
That you
confirmed their
confirmed,
interest.
okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Andy. Council?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion is second to approve. Any members of the public wish to comment on this item? Seeing none, public comment is now closed. Again, we have a motion to second approve. Any additional questions, comments, or concerns, council? Russell, call the question, please.
Councilmember Bright Cruz?
Yes.
Councilmember McKay?
Yes.
Councilmember Jablonski?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fisickelli?
Yes.
Mayor Nelson?
Yes, item number 19.
18, I believe.
18.
I'm sorry, I apologize, 18. Sorry, no, we just did 18. That was the school advisory board.
No, we just did, I believe it was the
Nope.
Rural Public Arts.
Rural Arts.
I apologize. So sorry. Item number 18. Thank you, Russell.
A resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Southwest Ranches, Florida, extending the term of the Schools and Education Advisory Board, restating the board scope, authorizing Town Council members to administratively appoint board members, and providing an effective date.
Thank you, Russell. Andy?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. And actually, since this is the last board, before I read the list of the names here, I do want to remind you all that serve as board liaisons from the council standpoint, those assignments remain. Okay.
Thank you, Andy.
Okay, the School Education Advisory Board, Mayor Nelson, your appointee is Chris Brownlow. Vice Mayor Fisickelli has appointed Rosina Maripodi Bove. Councilmember Bright Cruz will be appointing Richard Price. Councilmember Jablonski will be reappointing Manon Stevens, and Councilmember McKay will be appointing Kathy Sullivan.
Thank you, Andy.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion is second to approve. Any members of the public wish to comment on this item? Seeing none, public comment is now closed. I want to try and find a place for Mr. Reef. We got one more to go. If in fact that he wanted to serve on another one of those other committees.
Discretion, you can put him up.
What's the last one? The towns. This is the last one. No, I'm sorry, we have
We-
another one.
I-
Okay,
we
we still have
made-
another one. Okay, a motion and a second to approve, Steve?
Yeah, I just wanted to make a comment here. Were actually several people that I had were on my appointments from prior years that I just want to recognize their efforts. Jan Pushkar has been on our boards, done a lot of things for our town over a long period of time, and really appreciate all her efforts. She has unfortunately moved out of our town, so can't be on the boards anymore, but she just did a great job and has a really appreciate everything she did. Also, Leslie Thiele was on a prior appointment, and I just appreciate all of her efforts, worked alongside her in a lot of different ways, not only on the boards, but also in the HOA, and she'll be missed as well. And then I also wanted to mention on this board, Melissa Gleisner has done an amazing job, was really one of the initial people that helped form this board in the first place, has done a lot of great things to keep us informed and to get the scholarship program going, and so I wanted to thank her as well. And then finally, I wanted to welcome Richard Price. I appreciate him being here tonight. Look forward to him getting involved in this board, and I think probably more in the town as a whole. So welcome to our meeting. Hopefully we didn't scare you off tonight. Thank you. Appreciate you coming.
Thank you, Steve. Welcome, Mr. Price. It's good to see you. Okay, we got a motion and a second to approve. Any members of the public wish to comment on this item? Seeing none, public comment is now closed. Again, we have a motion and a second to approve. No additional questions, comments, or concerns. Russell, call the question, please.
Councilmember Brightcrus?
Yes.
Councilmember McKay? Yes. Councilmember Jablonski?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fisickelli?
Yes.
Mayor Nelson?
Yes. Item number 19.
19 is a resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Southwest Ranches, Florida, repealing resolution number 2007-023 concerning the town's Advisory Committee Board policy, creating a new Town Advisory Committee Board policy, authorizing the town administrator to implement the new policy, and providing an effective date.
Thank you, Russell. Andy?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve. Andy, you want to
Yeah,
elaborate?
thank you, Mayor. Actually, I'd like to
Yeah.
let Russell speak to this item a little bit. This is really, I'll say from our standpoint, housekeeping. There are policies that are in place, both written and unwritten, that have evolved over time, and this is really an effort on our part to clean this up, simplify it, put everything down in one place so that people understand what the expectations are and how this will work. And one thing I know certainly one member of the public has brought up in the past, in that we don't have board minutes and agendas on our website. This is all something that we'll be working towards, consolidating, simplifying, having everything consistent, and that is one of the desired outcomes of this. But Russell has worked very hard on this. I want to thank him, but let him speak to it and fill in the blanks of what I may have left out.
Absolutely, Andy. Russell?
I'll keep it brief, Mayor. Basically, the town had an established policy, and it was very, very good. This just seeks to kind of solidify the policy a little bit better and also make it kind of operate just a little bit more efficiently. I would say that there are some changes. I would call them moderate changes. Primarily, most of the changes in the policy are housekeeping in nature, some further clarifications, things of that nature. But I guess some of the more moderate changes are, one is that it will allow you as a council body to administratively appoint your board members, which is what's been done tonight. So you'll be able to, at a public meeting in the future, appoint members to the board without the need to have a formalized resolution. So should someone leave the service of the board for whatever reason, they move out of town, so on and so forth, you as a council body would be able to go ahead and appoint vacancies to those boards. We would still have to have it at a publicly held meeting, so there's the transparency issue is addressed, but you would be able to go ahead and do that without the formality of the resolution. Secondly, there was an item in the policy, in the existing policy, that stated that board chairs would contact other board members to advise them of meetings, and we felt that there might be the perception that there could be a sunshine issue there, and we certainly wanted to address that. So we've gone ahead and made changes to that. The last thing that I would state as a moderate change was that the current policy required that boards submit reports to the town council. And as we all know, we have a standing item on the agenda that allows for the boards to come forward and make reports, and so we felt that wasn't necessarily something that you needed to have. We have good communication with our boards. Many of you obviously attend the board meetings constantly, so we felt that there was already good communication and no actual need to have a report that would be submitted. So that was kind of modified. I'd also like to thank, if I may state, the town attorney, Mr. Polikoff, for helping us with revising the policy. Obviously, Andy Burns for giving us guidance, And also, Newell Hollingsworth actually provided some input, and I appreciated the input that he provided. He gave us a very good perspective, some history on the town that maybe we didn't always have, and so I appreciated his comments as well.
Thank you, Russell, and for all those, especially you, Russell, we appreciate the modifications that have a positive influence on this particular component, which is our advisory board and committees and those policies and procedures. Again, we have a motion and a second to approve. Any members of the public wish to comment on this item? Bob?
I'm glad to see that maybe we'll get the minutes published from the various committees. They're almost a secret society. They don't intend to be, and I don't think you intend them to be that way, but they're pretty close to it. One thing I noticed on there, and maybe I misinterpreted it, are all the meetings going to be recorded? I believe that was in there.
Yep. Russell?
If I could address that was part of an earlier version that was incorrect. They won't be recorded with audio. There will be minutes that will be required as required by state law. We are standardizing the format of the minutes.
Okay. I just wondered about that. I saw that. I wish you would get your minutes up to date, because I checked the minutes. I checked the agenda, maybe 6:30 tonight, and that's what was there. So that was of interest. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. And I just got finished giving you accolades, Newell.
Newell Hollingsworth, 199th Avenue. There is one suggestion that I made that is not in here. And if you look on page 2, number G, appointment of board members. Right now it reads, board members shall be town residents or experts working within a board's particular scope and having regular business within the town. That opens up to a problem that we had some years ago in the early part of our existence, where a board was made up entirely of experts and not one lived within the town, and made some decisions that finally the council undid. I personally believe that town residents should be the only voting members on a board. If we desire an expert, we can bring one in, or we can find one within the town. I do not want experts living outside of our municipality that are not residents making decisions that affect my pocketbook and my lifestyle. They are not us. We make the decisions. And that is all that I'm asking. Thank you.
Thank you, Newell.
Good evening, Joanne Hollingsworth, 199th Avenue. You have to have them strictly being residents of the town. We have the interest in our community. We have the interest in what goes on here, and we all want to preserve our rural lifestyle. There have been other municipalities that I am aware of that have allowed others to be on boards, and lo and behold, they never met a developer they didn't like, because that's what came on the boards. We must have residents only. Experts coming in, fine. Experts who are residents in the town, wonderful. We have the ability in this town. We have excellent people, educated, intelligent experts in this town that we can use. If we need outside our municipality, they can come in. But they should not be on a board officially as a voting member of the board. Thank you.
Thank you, Joanne. Any additional public comment on this item? Seeing none, public comment is now closed. Again, we had a motion and a second to approve. Council, any additional questions, comments, or concerns? Steve?
I like the recommendations.
I'm sorry, I missed that, Doug.
Yeah, I didn't
Doug, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
What were you saying?
I said I like their recommendation.
Recommendations, yeah. Yeah, I was going to say that I definitely would want to take off. I'm very uncomfortable with the wording of have regular business within town. To me, that sounds like a conflict. If you have regular business in town and then you want to get on a board to make decisions, I'm not comfortable with that at all. But frankly, after listening to what the residents have said, I agree with what Doug's saying, that really, I think the members of the board should be town residents. We can bring in experts. You know, we could bring in experts on a regular basis if we need to. Matter of fact, we've done it on many occasions, but it probably does make, I think it's a good point.
If they're not a resident, they shouldn't be allowed to vote.
Right.
So the maker of the motion and the seconder, while you made a motion to approve, you want to change
I would amend it.
on G and just eliminate everything with the exception of board members shall be town residents.
Yeah, board members shall be town residents. I think that's it.
Should we put the word voting in front of it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's all the responsibilities of being on the board, you know.
No, I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Okay. Seconder, agree?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
And I know we changed it a little bit, and I suspect there isn't any public comment because we're confirming that we agree with you and we made the change. So seeing no public comment, again, public comment is closed. Mr. Brady, no issues with that? Approval with one change in item G?
Yeah, on
That
the
board members shall
resolution-
be town residents.
On a resolution of this nature, I think that's fine.
Okay, thank you. Any other additional questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none, Russell, call the question, please.
Councilmember Bright Cruz?
Yes.
Councilmember McKay?
Yes.
Councilmember Jablonski?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fisickelli?
Yes.
Mayor Nelson?
Yes. Item number 22, the approval of minutes, and we can...
Aren't we on 20?
20.
Go ahead.
I missed.
20.
I apologize. No, you're absolutely right.
Let's get home.
It's the most wonderful time of the year. Santa Claus is coming to town. I got my mind on, yeah, it's pretty scary. Item number 20, I apologize, Council.
A resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Southwest Ranches, Florida, authorizing the submittal of a grant application to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement to purchase law enforcement equipment, authorizing the mayor, town administrator, and town attorney to transmit the application and enter into agreements and providing an effective date.
Thank you, Russell. Sorry, Emily, I apologize. Andy?
Yeah, if I may, Mayor, this is a grant that would enable us to purchase 2 iPad minis with cellular access. As we've talked about in the past, the town has kind of gotten away from charging the commercial vehicles, the overweight trucks, and those kinds of things. This will allow us to process those payments on site. So that's what we're looking for, so that we can start cracking down on those overweight vehicles. Again, we're working very closely with Davie PD on this. That's not something they were necessarily aware of, so they're actually riding our coattails and coming along with us on this one.
Thank you, Andy. Emily, thank you for all your efforts. We appreciate it very, very much, and always a pleasure to see you. Council?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion is second to approve. Any members of the public wish to comment on this item? Newell?
Newell Hollingsworth. I always love Christmas time when we give out toys. So I ask you to approve in the spirit of this season.
Any other members of the public wish to comment on this item? Seeing none, public comment is now over. Again, we have a motion and a second to approve. Any additional questions, comments, or concerns, council? Seeing none, Russell, call the question, please.
Councilmember Bright Cruz?
Yes.
Councilmember McKay?
Yes.
Councilmember Jablonski?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fisickelli?
Yes.
Mayor Nelson?
Yes, and again, we told you earlier that item number 21 had been pulled at the request of Marty and Andy. It'll reappear on our next agenda in January. Finally, item number 22, the approval of minutes for a regular meeting on October 23rd, 2014, sole purpose meeting on October 23rd, 2014, special meeting on November the 6th, 2014, and our regular meeting on November the 13th, 2014.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion, wow, 3. Motion and second to approve. And Mr. Brady, you won't believe this, but these minutes, you'd be surprised. We have had some corrections from our public. So again, we throw it out to you all. Any public comment on this item? Seeing none and no corrections, public comment is now closed. And again, this motion and second. Any additional questions, comments, or concerns, council? Seeing none. Russell, call the question, please.
Councilmember Fracruz?
Yes.
Councilmember McKay?
Yes.
Councilmember Jablonski?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fisickelli?
Yes.
Mayor Nelson?
Yes, and that concludes this agenda, and I think I can speak on behalf of everybody up here. This meeting is hereby adjourned. Again, Mr. Brady, it's a pleasure. Happy holidays to everybody.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.